Okay.
Yeah, I think we're live. I even see Jim Stoa here too. So he's styling with his hat. Nice. Okay. Hey, look, it's 9 o'clock. Want to get this started. There's one thing before I chime in. I'm sure Paul's going to say the same thing. And I know several people here have mentioned it, but for everybody who's on the live stream, got a real cold front coming across. So I think temperatures are beginning to come down a little bit now, but I think it's really scheduled to be Sunday night, Monday. And I've heard everything from 21 to 27 degrees, so it's going to be a hard freeze. I don't think it's going to be one that lasts really, really long. Everything it says, I don't even think it's going to be a full 24 hours. But in any event, I know Paul is doing things with to protect like palm trees and things like that. But my message is more to the citizens, pets. You're looking at anything with plants. It is going to be a hard freeze. So take all the precautions with water. I know they've posted some things on our city website to facilitate things. So just take it seriously, even though it's not like the freezes we've had in the past. Make sure you do people, pet, and property safety. So, and pipes, yes, property. That's property. Hi, Colleen.
So the public works crews have been really busy. We've got everything. We kind of jumped on early during the week, but all the water plant, the wastewater plant, that's all been winterized. The generators are ready to go. We've brought in extra sand just in case we need to. Sometimes we put a little sand on the bridge by the Hilton. The moon trees were wrapped really good. And actually the palm trees were sprayed Thursday afternoon with the winterized protection, all 20 of them. So we're ahead of everything. We'll have a crew in Monday. We're off Monday, but we're going to have a crew in just in case any water breaks, residents' houses, meters needs to be turned off. But we also speak with the residents that call and want some some guidance. And what's really good is to have if you don't have a personal cutoff valve at your house, that's something always good to have. And a lot of houses have them. That's just because if we can't get there really quick, you can turn off your own water. I think the last freeze that we had, I think we did 167 shutoffs, and that was water breaks in the attic, water breaks in the house. So sometimes it took us 30-40 minutes to get to each one. So we really try to get the residents to if they do any plumbing work, it's a good time to put a personal cutoff valve there. It's not much.
Let me mention something about the trees. I think the actions that you're seeing is mainly based off Paul taking the initiative to make sure that they're reminded of the guarantee, but the other is we've got those trees guaranteed that if they don't take care of them and they die, then and the freeze does what a freeze would do, then they're responsible, not the city. And that's really important as we look at that, because we had 147 trees up there. We only have about 26 now in the center, but we're continuing. We've budgeted. You're about ready to put in another 20. So we want to make sure we keep this guarantee so that that the city's not liable for those things, and it's working. They're taking active interest in it.
And all the parks, all the irrigation has been shut off, backflow preventers, drain, everything is wrapped. So we're, and I had some of the garden club members reach out to me, and they're doing some things for the garden. So we're trying to make sure that everything's protected well, nice. And a couple of the moon trees are actually going to be having lights put inside to kind of keep that chill off. So we're trying to go a little bit overboard to protect some of the moon trees. So
Do you
yes.
recommend that the homeowners wrap our pipes too, or is that extra precaution?
You know, I would. I'm going to, as soon as I leave here today, I'm going to wrap my own pipes. You know, even I've had people reach out to me and said, well, you know, Home Depot's out and Lowe's out. If you just on your spigot, just put a sock in a
Correct.
plastic bag and wrap it up and tie it.
Or just an old towel or something like that. It really makes a
Anything.
difference. And to put plastic over it to get that wind done.
Yeah,
You know,
rubber
keep the wind
band,
from
duct
hitting it.
tape, yeah.
It's gonna get to
Anything.
21, Pete, so if it does, I mean, I've heard it's between 21 and 27, depending on how close you're to the water. And we're pretty close, so we may not go that low. I'd rather people take the precautions and hear that we think we should than for us to kind of wave them off, so.
And one thing on if your service line breaks, you know, on your side, we shut off the meter, but if the service line breaks on our side, the cutoff to that line can be across the street, 4 to 6 feet deep. And if we have multiple service line leaks, you know, it may take us, you know, a few hours or a couple of days to get down there and get everything taken care of and repaired. So the more you do, the more it helps us out in the long run.
So I don't have a cutoff valve for some reason on the house, but I think before we had the public works came out and turned the valve off. Is that?
Yes, if
I've got a wrench if you need.
yeah,
a wrench,
it's on that. It's kind of iffy because if you have an old valve and it accidentally breaks, you may be out of water for a while.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
and so that's why we kind of trying to get everybody to kind of get a little personal cutoff valve there, but we don't like to really, like I said, 160 shutoffs. It's pretty tough, and that does include all the commercial buildings that's calling and kind of panicking a little bit. And those are meter vaults. We have to pump out the meter vault, get in there, you know, and shut that down. So, but like the mayor said, we looked at the temperatures. They're going to start maybe in the teens, 20s, but then they'll get up to the 40s. So what I tell everybody is just once that warm weather starts hitting a little bit, just start running, just turn everything on for about 3 minutes and just get everything circulated, and then you should be okay.
I would even argue that if you've got some pipes that are particularly vulnerable, is to do like what if you're from places or lived in places like Louisiana and New Orleans in particular, where houses are raised and all the pipes are underneath, you trickle your water just a little bit, keep flow, and that'll do a lot to keep them from freezing up.
Open your cupboards under your sink.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that from the house will keep the.
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. If people didn't hear, open your cupboards underneath your sinks to let your natural heating system do what it's supposed to do, right? So, great idea.
Does the city do any kind of a warming station or charging station for people?
The city, we don't have a facility to do that. Sometimes, I know a couple years back, I think that some of the churches did.
Yes.
But we're reaching out to Harris County and trying to get their list of we can share with the hospital and if somebody else needs someplace to go.
And thinking about a charging station too, if people get without power, charge phones and other things.
Okay.
That's a good
They have
idea.
a location to go do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody go over some of the stuff with
Yeah,
council.
if you want me to hit some of my highlights.
No,
and
keep
you wanna-
going.
Okay.
Keep going.
So we've got some really good things going on, and I think this is my second week. So bouncing.
After 14 years.
Yes, yeah. So still, you know, the whole public works mindset and work. And so my guys have really stepped up everything. Soon as I said, you know, hey, the freeze, they were like, we're already on the generators, filling up trucks, getting sand. So, you know, public works crews, we know this like the back of our head. So nothing has stopped on the public works. But some of the good things, we will probably start street sealing here in the next month or so, and that's about $30,000. We'll start street sealing. We're going to be doing crosswalk painting And that is with the thermoplastic. It's a little bit thicker, and then it's also a reflective in it. And I think those are about 7 areas in the city. So we're fixing to kick that off. I actually just signed the proposal for the art monument to come down. So getting a timeline on that. That should be really soon.
Imminent. Yep.
Yes. And then I made the planning and zoning meeting and the charter committee meeting to introduce myself and kind of see that process. And I was really impressed by the committee. People really care about the city, and so that was nice to look at. It was good, really good, positive feedback, and just you can tell the people really on those committees really care about the city. If you notice, the ADA door is working. We got now the remote ADA. You hit the button, both doors come open. That's something that we probably should have had a long time ago, but it's good. He was at the council meeting and went outside afterwards. It was kind of dark. We started replacing, we're gonna have 13 LED lights, brand new lights out there. They started, I think 4 was completed yesterday evening, and it really made a big difference out back. So we've got 13 that we're replacing. We have 3 transition to LED around the building. So the building's really going to start looking good at City Hall. And then I noticed leaving last night, the windows, probably need to be cleaned inside out. So we're trying to freshen up City Hall just a little bit. Finish the water map and sent to the engineers. That is 4 miles of water line replacement. And people ask me, how do we come up with the location? So every time there's a water leak, we do a service request, and it's in the MyGov system. So we actually print out a huge map. We plot everything. And so all the areas that had multiple water breaks will get new water lines, 4 miles of line. If you live in a cul-de-sac, you have a 2-inch water line, a 4-inch water line that'll be upgraded to a 6-inch water line with a fire hydrant. That includes brand new valves, brand new hydrants. So we're hoping to probably kick that project off around midsummer time. And then around April, we should be getting our construction for the new 12-inch water line. And basically it's gonna be from the water plant. It's gonna be upgraded from a 10-inch to a 12-inch. We're actually getting a new booster pump in now, new VFD. We're gonna increase the pressure a little bit, push more to the west end. And that would actually come out of the water plant, hit Saturn, upgrade Saturn line, and then from Saturn all the way down the hill, it's going to be a brand new 12-inch water line. So that's almost $1 million right there. So we're going to have 2 back-to-back projects, 2 huge projects going on. You start seeing around April all the way, and that should last us about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. And then we're going to be rolling right back into the street, all the street projects coming up. And so if you have a area that is holding water, a lot of areas are flat now, please reach out to me. We will get it on the list, and then we will go to the street committee. Street committee will evaluate everything, and then we will see how much money we have, and then we'll start adding those areas. So the drought did do a lot of damage. I think it probably did an extra 5 to 10 areas that we replaced here in the last 3 months. But we had some areas that were just great, and then all of a sudden they just went really bad. So
one of the things you're hearing, and there was even a agenda item on council Monday, is we issued certificate of obligations. The work that Paul's talking about is, if you remember, between last year, this year, and what we'll finish even 1 year, next fiscal year, we're investing about $20 million into the city of Nassau Bay. This is particularly getting paid. The bond issue was about $3.8 million, I believe, and it's payable over 10 years. We believe that with the structuring of how we did the water rates, we'll be able to either pay that off in 3 years early, or we can continue doing the reinvestment into the city. And my priority would be to keep getting Paul money in order to be able to fix the things, because we are at the precipice of having the complete water lines underneath the city fairly well replaced and new. My tagline I like to say is, I believe we'll have a newer water system in League City by the end of fiscal year 2025. So that's my personal objective that I want to make sure that we get out of that. And the other is the areas that he mentioned about expanding, both up on Nass Road 1 and from the water treatment plant, is one of the areas. There were two areas that came out of our ISO audit, which is the insurance audit, around our capacity to protect property. And that goes directly to every single one of our citizens' insurance rates that they pay for your housing. And we're at probably the highest we'll be able to be at, which is an ISO rating of 2, but we are right at the precipice of going to a 3. And if we lose that rating, it probably means for every single citizen on average who owns a home, which is about 1,000 homes, would be about $300 a year of higher insurance premiums. So that's $300,000 a year of just extra taxes leaving our city from our citizens. That we are definitively fighting that. We're going to fight that. And last night with this here, that those lines that he's talking about will particularly enhance the pressure in our water grid. That was what came up deficient in our audit, is that we had too many areas and ancillary locations that had too low of pressure, which means too low water flow, which is why he's doing the work that he's doing. The other is, and it was something last night, I'm very pleased to see that we passed the purchase of a new ladder truck for the fire department, city owned, volunteer fire department operated. It's a $2.2 million investment that we're making. It's going to take about 3 years to put together. But again, the financial restructure we did has allowed us to do it, because inflation's just hitting these type of equipment horrendously. And in February, there was going to be probably a 15% price increase, even from where we are. But my objective here is, we've had a number of homes that have been lifted, by, if you look at it in the different waterfront corridors, by the end of this year, I think it'll be about 90 homes that I think it's 89 is the exact. And we just submitted for another tranche, which I've heard is about 12. I don't know exactly what the number is, but we'll find out. So we'll have about 100 homes lifted. And the reason I say that is, a lot of those homes are 2 stories that are now becoming 3 stories. And for our firemen, that's really a tough challenge for them. We've also got the Methodist building. We've also got the Moody's neurological, center. We've got some challenges for our fire department, and this will enable them to be able to tackle a fire of that height safely. It's a 100-foot ladder truck, and it is also the second audit item in the audit that I told you I mentioned. We had low pressure, and we didn't have a ladder truck, which was viewed as a gap. Both of those, with last night, created the funding and the authorization to fix both of them. So we feel very strongly that this will meet the community's needs.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing.
And our pressure was just, some of the areas that the mayor talked about were just, 5 pounds, 6 pounds. It wasn't much. So we're almost there. So with the new booster pump we're adding, the VFD controls, the new water lines, and the big transmission line going down Nassau Wood, I think it's going to help us a lot. And then after that, we will start looking at the supply line coming in from Clear Lake Water Authority. We'll be looking at replacing that. That's one of the original lines. I think that's a 12-inch line. So
that's a $3.5 million.
Yeah.
So
But we did some really good things out there. The operators, we was able to put a pressure control valve because we were getting all these spikes at the water plant. And so we have a constant, pressure, so we don't have these spikes, and that kind of caused some of the water breaks. So on the supply line. So we've done a really good job with that. The operators did. And so we hadn't seen a break on that line in a few years. So it's really good.
Hey, Paul, we're at record use on water usage per day. Are we at 2 million gallons a day yet? Have we hit that?
Oh, no. During the, actually, I always get, I think we're
1.4.
probably, right now, we're probably right under 1 million.
Yeah.
Probably, in the winter months, we were about 800,000 gallons.
No sprinkling.
I thought this summer we hit 1.6.
Oh, now this summer, oh, yes, this summer, we've hit 1.3. Some of the times I've had 3 and 4 water breaks a day. We're about 1.5. But we were really fortunate in one of the towns that did not go on water restrictions.
We did not.
We were probably the only ones in probably South Texas that didn't go on water restrictions. So we're really proud of that. And the residents, we put out notice social media just to watch your water, and that helped a whole lot. I could see the numbers going down by like 250,000 gallons every day once we put in social media.
But you raise a good question, Pete, which is for people who don't know, we have a contract with the Southeast Water Purification Plant where we were one of the initial founders and customers of that plant. We are guaranteed 1.9 million gallons a day of water. So going over that, it can be a problem. The work, not only is the work that Paul's doing with the water distribution system, and I really want to let people know we're a 2 square mile city. And by the end of this thing here, we've already done 4 linear miles of new pipe for water distribution. We've done 2 linear miles of sanitary. By the time here, you're going to have another 4 linear miles. So we'll have replaced 10 linear miles in a 2 square mile city, which is fantastic, just absolutely fantastic. So in any event, that's one of the points I wanted to make is a lot of that is based off the restructuring that we've done. These monies are coming from very large commercial users of water. We made a change about 2 years ago that last time I saw from Jaime was about $1.5 million of additional discretionary spending of revenue for us, and we're reinvesting every bit of that money into the city. Yeah. So
Yeah, doing some really, really good things. And the water lines, I mean, this last summer, we were running 2 and 3 crews. And we also had contractors on standby. And so we had a really fast turnaround. I was keep up with the other cities. And I know one of our neighboring cities, I think they had about 43 leaks on the books almost the entire summer. And these were not small leaks, they were kind of big leaks. And some leaks were running for 2 weeks at a time. We did not have any big leaks running over 6 hours, 7 hours at a time. And then probably on the books on small leaks, when I say small leaks, it's probably like a small service line leak. We probably had maybe 3 or 4 on the books. And so we stayed on these leaks, and the mindset was when there's a drought, it's time to punch that clock and get to work. So the mindset of the public works guys was really, really good. And just coming up with the Jaime keeping a really close eye on the budget. And so we were staggering crews. We were doing everything we could to make sure we just didn't go over budget. And so hats off to the guys out there. This summer was brutal.
And not only that, once we get done with that, the one thing I really want to get your guys out of, is digging and fixing these water leaks. I mean, some of these are 10 feet deep. if one happens during this cold when it's 20, think about that. You're in a hole with 2 feet of water and you're sitting in there, you're trying to fix it. It is not to me a value added activity. I want us to fix our infrastructure so that they never happen versus having them, do like Superman, because they're I can't believe the work that they do. And it's one I really want to get them out of having to do. So.
And then we've also signed a contract with a grant writer that is looking.
No, keep going. No, keep.
Okay.
Keep going.
And so we've had some projects on the back burner that they're just too much, $1 million projects. I think each one was about $1 million. And so one was, so we have a really good grant writer we're working with that he feels pretty confident he's going to be able to get these grants. One is putting an extra line down Point Lookout, a drain line that's going to go right back into Lake Nassau. Along with that is dredging of Lake Nassau, getting it deeper, getting it a whole lot deeper so I can pump it down in case, we got a big storm coming. And then there's also the line coming out from Antigua, I believe. It kind of dead ends. It's a storm line and comes down. We want to run that line all the way out to Calbayou.
Yeah,
so
Davon. Yep,
Davon.
correct.
And so those are some of the 3 big projects. So we always have projects that will help, but they're real costly.
So Paul's being pretty humble here. One of the things here in this consultant, this grant writer is not somebody we don't know. We've had a very successful program I mentioned around raising our homes. We've got 89 of them probably at the end of this year, probably be over 100, 2-3 years from now. We were in a discussion going over the new application, and in just between Paul and I, we were sitting there, we were talking to Jeff Ward. The 2 consultants that we do for that is Phil Hempstead and Jeff Ward. Jeff Ward just mentioned that he does work for flood mitigation projects, not just lifting of homes. And that lifting of the homes is only one of like 5 of his areas. And so Paul and I, just started talking to him, and we found out that we have very applicable projects. He's had a very high success rate. And like he said, we're mentioning is, I would love to be able to dredge Lake Nassau. Right now there's some areas that are only about 3 feet, some even less than that. But a lot of the algae blooms, because it's so shallow, but it's also, we can't really use it as much of a waterboard for big storms because it's way too shallow. We can't pull it down enough without killing all the fish. So we'd love to dredge that to like 12 feet. And not only would that enhance for everybody here to be able to do recreational activities in that lake, because that's kind of where it used to be. It's just sludged in. We'd love to do that and put in a big honkin', that's a technical term, pump station underground. There's already one there. People don't know as you're going out the road to the park right there to the right. But upgrade that to an ability where we could pull 3 feet off that headboard in advance of a storm. Because everywhere that it rains and comes in, which causes flooding problems, is because it gets to the lake and then the lake overflows. And if you look at it here, 1 inch puts anywhere between 3-4 inches on into Lake Nassau. So when you get a 5, 6, 7 inch rain, you're putting 3 feet of water into there. And we've only been able to handle about a 3 inch rain, because they put about 12 inches on there because we can only bring it down a foot. And what that means is that whole drainage area that goes down by Point Lookout, between Point Lookout and Martinique, there's that drainage area. If that backs up because of back pressure from the lake, it backs up all up in Point Lookout. It backs up everywhere. And if we can do this, it would be a tremendous enhancement to our ability to manage water. That's going to be about a $1.5 million project by itself. So, we want to do that. You mentioned about the Davon. That's been a problem. And then electrifying and upgrading the pumps to 480 volt on Upper Bay Road so that we can put in, again, some big honking pumps. We're restricted by power. We're maxed out as to what we can pump because we just don't have the power to do any better. And Jeff is pretty much assured that this will go in probably 2 stages where we'll get the engineering work done. The federal and state, authorities like to see engineering studies on what we would do, and then they'll make a judgment as to whether they'll fund 100%, 50% matching, or just say it's not enough credits. My view is because of the money that we've got here, 3 years from now, we're going very long in our water and sewer, and we've changed flood mitigation from the general fund to the water and sewer. We're going to have $1.5 million a year that we can do, that we can choose to do on our own or work with a grant. So, but the key is having that engineering study so that we know the size of the pumps, the size of the lines. It's all scoped out with P&IDs so that we can actually affect and execute that. And that should be paid for at a minimum by these grant writers. And that was all began because Paul put together a group of people, and we discovered Jeff did a whole lot more than what we've known him for. Yeah. So.
And some other good things that are we've been discussing, and you may have noticed, but we're trying to dedicate at least 2 days of tree trimming in the city just to catch up. We know we're behind, and so I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, crews are out there trimming trees. I think we've got most of the commercial area done. We're concentrating on the entrances, Nassau Bay, Point Lookout, Upper Bay, getting all that taken care of. And then actually next week, depending on the weather, you'll see a crew at Founders Park. We're going to be trimming up all them trees. I think we've got maybe 3 trees that are looking too good. So we're going to clean that area up, clean the waterway. Me and the mayor was talking, and it'd be good to, if you live in that area where you can just look out and see the water, And so we're going to raise the canopy up on the trees, just make it look real good. We're getting some quotes for start curb replacements. So we're going to be hitting all these damaged curbs on all the entrances of the city. And then we're committed to about at least every other Friday, every other Thursday to continue to paint the curbs yellow. And so we're doing stuff like that. We're looking at replacing 16 Florida sable palms on Upper Bay, 8 on Upper Bay, 3 on Space Park, and then 4 on the boardwalk, and then 1 out in the park.
Or to say it differently, the Garden Club has been very, very specific about how we've had some missing palm trees in a lot of different places in the city, the sable ones, and those are being done this year. So, yes.
So curbs, I'm on a list with the public works to get my curbs, because a lot of residential curbs are broken up.
They
Is that
are.
something that y'all are working on as well?
Yes. So, and we'll be putting out something on social, how that works. And so basically the resident is responsible for the approach curb back up to about 24 inches, about 2 feet. And then the city will take on that. So we've got the street ceiling list, the flat areas, and then if, got any curbs, just give us, we're running a total live list of all this stuff. So
I'm even wanting to talk with Paul about that, because one of the areas, that 2 feet area, is probably one of the areas of highest broken, because it's not contiguous with the curb, so it's weaker. In my mind, I'd like to see what it would cost if the homeowner just put it in one thing and just make it all as one project. Because one of the things that Paul and I have, if you've noticed here with the streets, is like when we fixed it, we're not only fixing the street, we're fixing the curb. And if the curb, even going out, was bad, we fixed very long swaths. And I'll tell you one thing, that's probably one of the things I've heard most, I think so too, is it's enhanced how new our city looks. Those new curbs, new concrete has really done more of an aesthetic uplift to make our city look clean and well kept. And I want to do that. I want to do a whole lot because I think it's a safety issue too, Colleen, is if you're riding a bicycle, and a lot of the problems with that is the curbs come out like that into the city. And if you hit that, you're going to be flying over there, and particularly at night. And I worry about that. That's
Yeah, and stepping off of, property onto the street, if the curb is loose, I mean, that's enough.
correct. I know the one that he's going to focus on first is for the folks who live in Bell Harbor. That entryway is in really bad shape. I even see rebar that's sticking out, and it's pulled away. So he's taken that whole area on all the different points in the center median. That's all going to get replaced. So,
And one good thing is that we're switching now to, me and the mayor discussed this last week. We do street sweeping twice a year. Typically I do it right before the holidays, right before Thanksgiving and right before the 4th of July. We're going to do street sweeping 4 times a year. We're going to do it every quarterly. And I reached out to our vendor. They've confirmed that they're going to be having the truck with the curb cleaner. So it's actually going to clean the curb.
so the black curbs are going to go
Yeah.
away.
And so we're happy that we're going to do that. So
So-
it'll cost us a little bit more money, but it's going to be a lot
So
worth.
just a funny ha-ha here, I gotta say, and I'll get to you, Pete, is for everybody who kind of was critical of the last time we did the street sweeping, I like input, good or bad. And we heard very clearly, people did not think it was very well done. And we found out it was done by a dry sweeper rather than a wet sweeper. And he didn't have the curb thing. So your input on stuff like that is valuable. Sometimes, the way in which it's communicated could be done better, but we listen and we're getting, and Paul's made it, and you're doing it 4 times a year.
Yes.
Instead. And I look at it as I want to keep as much crud and leaves and stuff out of our sewers because we are in a tropical area. Even though we're here in the middle of January, come May 1st, it's going to be a tropical season and another hurricane season. And the more stuff we keep out of there, the easier it is for you to make sure it's well kept and that those pipes are doing what we want them to do.
Hey, Phil and Paul, so with the new improvements on the street repairs, et cetera, what I noticed is that with the storm sewers, if we replace one, we're still doing the old, very small distance to take
That
the
was,
water.
yeah, that was a mistake by the contractor
It is.
on yours. We normally go double BBs.
It wasn't
and-
just mine, though, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was an emergency and they just went back with exactly
So-
what was there. But that's going to be replaced.
Correct.
So it'll be updated.
Yeah,
It will.
yes, yeah.
We'll go back.
For example, I was at my mother-in-law's house in Dallas over the holidays. They have twice the distance to drain water, so when they get a rain, their water
Just
goes
goes.
down low.
Correct.
And I hope we're doing.
Yes, yes.
We
the
are.
double
So
B. Yeah,
I'll
double
even
B,
say
yeah.
this, Pete, and this goes back 25 years. We did a survey, and one of the biggest restrictions for moving water was not the size of our pipes underneath the ground. There were some areas that we had to do that, but the small entryways, the sewers were not big enough to handle more than they were designed for a 1-inch rain, not a 4-inch, 6-inch. So we made a decision to upgrade all those so that when one gets replaced, it gets upgraded. And you highlighted that. Paul and I talked, and we're going to correct that. So thank you.
And then a couple other things I've been working on. I've got a new CenterPoint representative for the regional area that I've been speaking with. I understand that we had like 11 power outages at Bal Harbor. And so I reached out to him last week and told him I do know a little bit about electricity. And so that kind of scared him a little bit. I know about transmission, transformers, all that. So I told him if he could look into it. He said he's going to give me a call. And if we have to meet out there, I said,
Or if we have to elevate it, because nobody should go 11 power outages in 11 weeks.
And I see it as a safety issue, if somebody's needing that electricity, especially in the wintertime. And so I think I've got a good representative that I'm working with now. So, and he knows I know a little bit since I'm coming from Public Works, so he's gonna be working with me a lot. And then, working, trying to get a little bit better, working relationship with TxDOT. They, good group of guys, but they just take too long and I'm getting irritated with them. So we're gonna be looking at the signs, that are missing out there. I've been on them, and so finally I'm probably just have to make a little visit and show up. So I'll be working with them two groups, and hopefully we'll start getting a lot of things accomplished, that's kind of been on the back burner, or I kind of feel that since we're a small city, they don't take us too serious, but maybe if I show up a few times at their office, maybe they'll take us a little bit more serious, so.
On the subject of water, I appreciate you all donating money to the Clear Creek Environmental Foundation.
Yep.
And this last weekend, they found two probably 8-foot by 40-foot pylons that they pulled out of the water
Where?
up the creek.
On like Cow Bayou or
No, up the creek, up Clear Creek.
up Clear Creek?
Toward
Yeah.
Lake City.
Okay. So
And-
past ours,
Huh?
past where we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we need anything like that, I can probably reach out to them if you need something like that, just with
Okay.
as your inventory. I mean, just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
okay.
have the cleanup coming next, and the final cleanup coming out on the 3rd. And I went to a meeting the other night too, but there's a whole group getting together in the cities around here about derelict boats. There are 11 derelict boats in the lake right now that they've identified. And part of the project is to get rid of or lift those boats up and get them out of there.
One was right there by the Hilton
Huh?
that the guy Ted,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Tim Leopard.
Tim Leopard, yeah.
Yeah, but there's
He
still
pulled-
11, there are sailboats, power boats, they're all in various locations, so, I went to a meeting the other night and they passed out a name of everybody's, all the contact people in the different cities. I noticed Nassau Bay wasn't there, so I put your home phone number there. But anyway, I just put our contact, the city's contact information on there. Because I think it's a great project, gotta get rid of those boats in the water. I mean, we're talking big boats too, we're not talking about little,
Yeah.
small little boats.
Okay.
So it's I think I sent it to you, but it's called the derelict
It is.
boat
Yep.
removal, yeah.
Yep.
And they're also trying to raise some money for that, so, and working with Texas Land Office, because apparently the Texas Land Office is the only people can actually have the funding to remove it. But these guys are belling up to the bar and getting it done,
Good.
along with
Good
the Clear Creek Environmental Foundation.
Good.
And I've been working close with the building department last couple of weeks, especially this week, close with code enforcement. And actually, the public works guys, I keep calling them my guys, the public works guys have been actually sending
They
me
are your guys.
pictures of some apartments that are just have too much trash, mattresses, and actually followed up with some pictures. So I've been working with code enforcement a lot. I'm actually gonna meet with the apartments management probably every quarter and just go over some things and just let them know that, we're just trying to make the city look good and, anything we can do to help, but, we just got to clean up some areas and,
Is there a code enforcement that they're supposed to have a fence around their trash area?
I'm pretty sure I'd have to look into that, but I'm pretty
They are.
sure, yeah. I'm
You're
pretty sure,
supposed to, it depends on it. It's not supposed to be able to be seen from the frontage of your property. So
Right.
sometimes people have them tucked back,
Right.
things like that. But if they're off to the side or things like that, they either need a place that's covered,
Right.
to take away the
Right.
ugliness, I'll just
Yeah.
say it that way, just the ugly sanitariness.
And also blow stuff in the water. I've noticed going up Nassau Road 1 over there where Baskin Robbins is, they don't clean that area up. A lot of that wind blows that plastic bag inside of the cow bayou, which ends up over here in the creek.
One of the things I just want to mention with code enforcement is, for everybody who sees, Officer Henderson, shake his hand, give him compliments. He's out there. He's probably, because we focused on this, has had probably one of the most significant impacts to upgrading our code he's located something like 437 businesses that weren't registered in the city, and he's not even done. He's if you've noticed there with like the Arafat property, that they're now in compliance, they're not violating in certain areas. And he's now working with a lot of the retail people to do some of the things like paint your parking spots, paint your curbs for fire, make sure that you do some of the stuff, because part of our city looking aesthetically nice is the commercial sector, and to make sure that they do the things that were done as part of our agreement for them coming in. And he's doing just a great job on that. So if you see Perry Henderson, Officer Henderson, let him know that, and I really appreciate what he's doing. And from that standpoint, he loves hearing the citizens, and he also loves to have the eyes and the ears of the citizens, so that if you see something, say something. And he's right on it, and he's got the great, personal tact to be able to, like what I say, tell some people's bad news well. Like, you got to fix it, right? There's a skill there, and he's got it. And he's very stern, but he's also very polite and respectful. So that's what we need.
So this week he actually visited with 18 businesses, and then out of the 18, collected 11 business registrations and fees on that.
Yep.
So we were staying pretty good. We kind of tag team a little bit on the Shell station out there, and I know the owner, and so just gave him a call, and he promised me he'd get the cars out, and he did by the weekend. And so it's looking really nice out there.
But it's also, you got to give Chief Cromie and others credit here
yeah.
tonight, and Tony Russo, because we've added extra resources, and this is novel what we're doing. And it's one where we're finding our way as we go through from management of it and things along that line. But this is something that because of that buy-in and being able to focus on this has made a really big difference. So.
And we've actually had a couple meetings this week just on code enforcement, how we can improve it, streamline it. And so, Tony, Perry, Chief, I mean, we're all, it's a group effort. And so we're really focusing on a lot of good things.
So Paul and Phil, do we have with code enforcement in the city, the former Buc-ee's, now called Star Stop, that continues to slide backwards? They have many more gas pumps don't work than actually work. So that business is in decline.
No question.
Are we focused on them at all? Do we have any control over that?
As far as that, I probably, out of my expertise a little bit, but I'll ramp up on that. But we did.
So
send him a
Officer
letter.
Henderson, if you're listening, somebody just said eyes and ears that
He
the
actually
Star Stop.
issued them.
You've mentioned this before, Pete. So I didn't realize it, because I don't shop there. I haven't gone up, but I'll go by myself too, given that you said that. But take a look to see what enforcement capabilities we have for their operation, because my understanding is having facilities and equipment that gasoline's a hazardous material, that having that in disrepair is not proper, and that there are actions, because the last thing you want to do is have faulty equipment that with hazardous materials in a residential area. We'll look into it, Pete.
And he actually made a visit with them, I think it was Wednesday, and gave them a letter for their dead tree as you pull in.
Yeah, that's right.
So he is on it. We've been, we meet daily on things. And so we're looking, and some of the other good things that we're doing here in City Hall for the employees, we're going to be doing our annual picnic for the employees and their family. We're looking around, I think April, working with Cheney on that, on HR, and just a nice fellowship with the employees, their families, do some barbecuing and some fishing. And so everyone's pretty excited about it. And then also the project manager, Elias, he was nominated president of the Texas Water Utilities Association Board. So during Public Works Week, which is, I think, I'm gonna say May, we're gonna have, the Public Works cook-off team gonna be cooking against all the other cities in this area.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we'll have staff there. And so I think it's a all weekend event. It starts on a Friday night.
Is that a fundraiser for somebody?
No, it's just I'd have to get more information about it, but, it's basically Public Works Week. You know, we're just honoring Public Works, the guys in you know, the streets and doing all the work. And, we'll have a team of about 15, massive trailer, music, everything. And so, we're trying to look at things like that, you know, and so, here in the last couple of weeks, staff has just really been welcoming me, joking, laughing down the halls. And so we're, you know, everything is starting to look really, really nice. I meet with, the Public Works guys. I have lunch over there actually almost every day, except for I think one day this week. And then we sit down, go over what we've got to do for that day, the evening time. And so, it's really, but, you know, them guys are, they know exactly what's going on. They usually already know how I'm thinking, what are my pet peeves. And so, everything is going really good, really flow. You can see a different dynamic now. I'm listening to people on the streets, employees, and doing a lot of evaluation, and, everything is looking really good. I'm pretty happy of how it's going. So.
Are you fully staffed now, Paul?
No, not yet. We're actually, I am in discussions with one person that may can bring something to the city. We're going to.
You meaning the building official?
The building official,
Yeah,
yes.
correct.
I'm in discussion with that. The city secretary, we will probably tackle that really fast, really quick. I like to tackle all my problems fast. Coming from a Army background, that's just what you did. You tackled everything really quick, really fast, structured, get everything lined up.
We need some police officers too.
Yep. And so we'll be looking at all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of the building official.
Yes.
So I'm here, I'm an owner at the Bayfront condo, and we have had extremely difficult time with your lack of a building official trying to get a permit for our, you know, we had a fire back in March of 2021, had 26 units that got damaged severely, but were rebuilt, and that worked okay. We got 11 units that we still haven't got a permit for, and we've been working with Cecily Caldwell for multiple months now, and we keep being told, oh yeah, it's almost there, it doesn't get here. Then we said, okay, you guys use Veritas as a third party.
We do.
Veritas was all good, and then they said they fired Veritas, and they switched to this company called Safe Build. And Safe Build had to relook at all the drawings again. Every week we sit down, and I say we, Cecily won't talk to me because she says she only talks with the builder, which is fine, I guess. You know, I can do an open records request, which seems silly to me as an owner of the unit. I can't actually find out what's going on with the permit. And so we continue to have this every week.
So Tom, are you, yeah, no, I was just gonna ask you, are you a representative of the homeowner association there?
Yes.
So, yeah, so,
I'm the building advisory,
Yeah.
I've been working, I work the contract, I
That's what
signed with the company, I'm an owner of the unit, but I'm also, I report to the board, I'm the building advisory group. We met a long time ago with Mark Stelly.
Okay.
Right before he was a building official, he retired. You guys hired Chris Roth, who didn't last 6 months.
Yeah.
Then you hired another guy who didn't last. Then Mark was back part-time. And like now it feels like, I don't know who to talk to. Nobody will talk to me. And like we submitted for a permit back in October, right? We still haven't got it. I've got 11 people.
Yeah.
We're paying monthly dues and we're not, we're paying rent to live somewhere else. And I can't even get construction started on drawings that have been done since June of last year. And it's just frustrating to me. I mean, I hear all these great things you're doing in the city when you got 11 residents that are, been put out.
Fair enough.
And we can't get a permit. And it's been 3 months. And when I talked to Cecily back in October, she had said, oh, it's a 15 to 20 day process to get a permit. Well, here we are. So that was early October. Here we are, middle of January, and we still haven't got a permit. And every week it's, oh, I want this change on the drawing. And Safe Build now wants this. Oh, we want to know this. And we've adjusted the drawings like half a dozen times. And every time we go back to Safe Build, I think somebody else at Safe Build looks at it and wants a different, change.
We
in
have
control.
one guy who's our central guy, so
So
that's.
so why is it so difficult to get,
So let's-
we make the changes they ask and then they keep changing.
So
them.
Tom, what I said before is I think your criticism is valid. I do know that we've had some the reason why Chris Roth only lasted a while was because he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
we're dealing with some things where my bet is because of a improper building official decision, we probably have 4 lawsuits for the city. And some people know what I'm talking about.
The association, including myself, we're being sued by the owners.
Yeah,
Because
correct.
of our incompetence to get the rebuild.
Correct.
And we can't get it done
So-
because the city won't issue a permit.
But right now, so what I'd suggest is I even mentioned with Helen, you, Helen, I don't know if you're gonna be here, but definitely, because that's what I understood talking to Helen, you're one of the representatives. I wanna slay this thing around you. If you're not getting information, I'll intervene to help make sure you do, because that doesn't help out at all. And then let's talk about how we can keep things, because you're right, that's just wrong. And, please stay afterward. It's almost 10 o'clock, and then we'll I don't know how long you can stay,
I probably have to come.
but your frustration is not misplaced.
Okay. No,
All right.
and I mean, at the time of the fire, the city said, hey, we're gonna do everything we can to get it, to help you out.
Yeah.
It feels like all the city's done is not helped us get anything done.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Let me put some eyes on it and then reach out to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, appreciate it.
Fair enough. Here's another one. Just so you know, we have Sarah Horton here, who is position 6 from City Council, and Chase is position 4 from City Council. You're 5, excuse me. Correct. That's right. That's it. You're 1, 3, 5. Yeah, and you're 3 then. That means. Yes. I'm off even odds. So.
And one thing also I'd like to put out there is that our animal shelter is full. So we're running a special this weekend. You adopt a dog, get 2 cats free.
Yeah.
So, and we'll extend that for a while. But, yeah, we're full, and I know all the other shelters in the surrounding areas are full also. So, but we're trying. Troy's working with a lot of people. They're trying to, foster and adopt and all that. But we got we are full out there. So.
Regarding the animal shelter, council just had the first readings last week to create a new board in compliance with state law.
With state law.
So what are the requirements for those who are interested in applying when that board does become officially, I guess?
So can you, so what we're going to do, Brian, because this is something I've been very, very insistent on, is that if we create a committee that first we have to get it, codify it. That's actually part of Sarah's, push. But I want to make sure we post it for each one and what there is. That one has very prescriptive things, like you have to be a veterinarian on some. I think it's a 5-member board, and Troy will have to be on it, and there's a few others. I think there's only 1 or 2 seats that are general citizens. But we're going to post that. We're not going to fulfill those things until it gets out there, so the citizens who are wanting to participate on that and the requirements. That one just has more professional requirements on it than our typical other committees or boards.
Yeah.
Just honestly.
No, and I was just trying to get that
Yeah,
information out
correct.
so people are aware.
So we did our first reading, Monday. Second reading will be, in February. February is the 11th or something.
Yeah.
And then we'll post to bring that up to speed. And somewhere in either March or April is when we'll actually get that committee up and running. At least that's what I believe.
Now, we also have other openings on other boards and commissions as well that we're looking to fill, correct?
Correct. So, but not that much. I think it's more on special events. I know the planning commission's full. I know the board adjustment's full. The charter committee's full. Parks and Rec's full, but special events is not. And street committee's full.
Was it the area management, or was it the TERS that had one?
The TERS. You're right. There's one opening on the TERS. Correct. So, yep.
And the advisory, and just to, you know, make sure everybody understands, this is just a formality that we have to go through. Troy, I think he just had an inspection. You know, Troy knocks it out of the park. He's got one of the cleanest shelters. And so this is kind of a checks and balances kind of thing, and not so much of interfering with the operations of the animal shelter, just a checks and balances, make sure that we're getting reports out and all that stuff. And so but he's got really good feedback. And like I said, if I ever die, I'm gonna come back as a dog, one of Troy's dogs. I think he treats the dogs better than some other people, so.
That's why it's full.
That's right.
Hotel is
They don't
full.
wanna leave, they don't wanna leave, yeah.
Hey, Phil, can you give us your thoughts on economic development? You know, we have like, Parlor Donuts came in.
Yeah.
It's a big success. And now the old Luby's, Panda Express, Chipotle. Can you tell us your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, right now, one of the things here, and there's actually several, you know, ventures that are interested in that Luby's property, you know. So there's one that wants to do to allow a, you know, multiple drive-through for Panda Express and for Chipotle. It just went to the planning commission, and there's a split. I'm just going to say it this way. These are things that are valid interests. So you've got one group that is very concerned about how we do how much fast food we bring into the city, about how people coming in will disrupt our landscaping plan throughout the things. I think they're talking about cutting down 27 trees or something like that. And then the other is, and Glenn, you were there, the other is, you know, you've got a vacant property that's there, and it hasn't been developed. And I know that's just been sold by Luby's to some property owners. And so it's really kind of going to come to council as to say, what are the priorities there? Do we want to you know, how do we want to work with this group if they do? And we'll see where it goes, because there was some pretty good discussion. I'm glad you were on the things. Any other additional comments? Or
just a lot of pros and cons on both sides.
On both sides, they're valid concerns both ways. So I don't, you know, one of the things I would say is I think the planning commission did a good job in discussing it through, and it passed 4-3 to come to council. But it's coming with concern. I know they said that they, you know, that there is a interlocal agreement that we have with the Johnson Space Center on how we develop the landscaping up on Nassau Road 1. And having somebody be able to run counter to that means it'll set a precedent that you could do it anywhere. Anybody can change that. And we, you know, I don't know how that's going to work with them, but that's a big issue. And then just people, you know, how much fast food do we want to have in our city? And do we want to keep with a vacant property for another year or two with patients? So let's let that dialogue continue, and it's obviously going to come to council. Does that help?
I thought the whole meeting of that planning commission was the SUP, the special use permit, which was just whether to approve the drive-throughs or not, and not to vote on the business.
Well,
just like Parlor Donuts, the city had no control.
Correct.
Over them coming in.
So that's a good point. I'll be even more clear. Is there's two things there, and I don't think the property owners knew that there is an interlocal agreement around landscaping for up on Nassau Road 1. You know, we've put in about $1.5 million up there to have a look that we're trying to do, and one of the things here I'll say is, like, we finally got the palm trees back up. We've taken down all the dead plants on the end caps. All that's going to be done, and we have, I think we paid for the oak trees that are on the south side, and NASA paid for all the ones on the north side, and there's a look that's supposed to be there. So there's whether or not they're coming in, I don't think that was reviewed, and I think they kind of heard some things that they have to prepare for, because we're not going to violate an interlocal agreement. And then the other is, like you said, is the commercial area, just to be able to manage how much fast food we have, is there are restrictions on drive-throughs. So that was there as to whether or not they should have a specific use permit for that. So you're right.
What about
Okay.
Five Guys? Building that's next to Five Guys and Wendy's and
Yeah, I mean, this is,
still empty.
yeah, my understanding is not only is it empty, I have not heard of anybody locating there. There has been nothing that I've seen. I've heard from people that have called there as they were looking at other places, you know, as part, I mean, because Economic Development Corporation gives it, they're asking close to $5,000 a month net, and they are top tier, you know, pricing. And again, I haven't seen exactly what they're doing, but that's what I hear
$5,000 a month for that little space?
for each individual space.
Wow.
Yep.
Does the city have any control? I mean, can it stay empty basically forever?
It can, believe it or not, it can.
Now, the EDC can like incentivize businesses to come in and
Correct.
tax breaks or things like that. I mean, so or, you know, say, hey, we'll contribute to your signage or, you know, things like, but, you know.
These guys have been very covert, you know, when I've asked, hey, what are your plans? They just like saying, well, we'll tell you when we want to.
But we have Paul Lopez, who's pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
who I imagine Paul will get his nose.
But
in there
they've
and
actually,
find
you
out.
know, they've put up a nice unit. It's clean. They've got palm trees that are up, but it is empty. I don't eat, you know, from a business side, I'm like going, you know, the return on that, you know, capital's got to be pretty low. But we've inquired and we've been told, you know, we comply with all ordinances, so we'll tell you when we want to. And like you said, I want to look and see if there's things that can help them, and they're not really wanting any help.
What was their plan when they created it?
Put in 5 units like that. They didn't. That was it.
No.
Yeah. And they're allowed to build there. You know, there's if they want to put in a smoke shop with selling Delta 8 or Delta 9, they'll probably run into problems. But I don't think it has a drive-through or anything like that. So they're in complete compliance with our laws, and you know, that I know of.
What about the property next to the Hilton? What's going on there?
Yeah, I think they're waiting. Tim Leopard wants to see what the Hilton's going to do and if they can partner with some things there. So that's on a little bit of a pause. And Hilton has said they want to renovate the place starting the 4th quarter of this year, but we haven't seen any plans on it. So we're interested because we want to help facilitate that too, as a city. To me, I'd love to have that property redeveloped properly. And if we have means to be able to incentivize that, I would want to do that. So, but that's what's going on.
So speaking of properties, what's going on with that house at the entrance on Nassau Page Drive? It's been under construction for about 3 or 4 years.
Well, Henderson had good news, right? Henderson said he busted people working there without a permit the other day, right?
Yeah, so they're another what I'd say a covert group. They had some people in there trying to do work outside of a valid permit, and their permit has expired. So we shut it down, but I think a lot of people would like to see them get it done, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very, you know, great to say we're enforcing our law, but what, you know, and I'll give credit where credit's due with Sarah. She said, you know, we have things where if they don't execute along a permit, then we can pull the permit, which is what's happened here. But we don't have on at least the city's books a ordinance that restrict, you know, that puts people in default or if they don't finish within a certain period once they start. And we're looking into that. It hasn't been on the highest priority, but I think it's time we have to look at something like that.
I'd say it's a pretty big eyesore when you drive in.
Mhm.
Huge.
It is.
Huge. One of the
It
highest
is.
profile houses in Nassau Bay, and it's, you know, 4 years now. But I heard that the Nassau Bay Homeowners Association has their lawyer on it.
Correct.
I heard that the homeowner had the lawyer go to the Nassau Bay Homeowners Association and complaining about harassment. But I think the city and the Nassau Bay Homeowners Association need to team up.
Yeah, I think that's
and
right.
have a plan, but absolutely, I'm glad you brought that up because it definitely impacts, houses up in the neighborhood. And I'm only 4 houses away and I've been watching that thing with great disappointment for years now.
Live across the street from me, James.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I, my empathy even more.
But I got the call from Mac that said it looked like somebody had broken in, so the police was over there. So I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, so we checked it out.
Is it gonna be torn down?
Well, they're actually, I think they have building supplies in there that look like people were trying to steal as they're doing stuff to it. So
There was a pickup there yesterday, pickup in the driveway.
all I know is
I didn't see any people, but just,
the contractor that I talked to in there said he has been contracted to sanitize, clean up, get all the wiring and stuff like that, and then put up wall board throughout the whole house.
When is the deadline to get it done?
I believe it is like this month.
I thought it was in December.
So I think it's this month. It's either, The only other thing that I'd like to say is, there was, I think people may not have heard, I wasn't at this last council, it was at a previous council, that St. Thomas has been a beneficiary of a very unique and historic organ. And the organ, like a musical organ. And it is like one of 4 in the country, in North America, I believe it is. It was donated by a collector after he died. That is what I understand. I may not be completely correct, but that's it. But I talked to the minister, Mike Stone. I think there's a gala that they're doing for things like that, but their plans are something that I think is a really neat, is to get this organ up and operational so that they can provide, really within the Episcopal Church, a variety of different competitions, a variety of different concerts, a variety of things in order to showcase this organ. And they're about $250,000. I mean, this is one of those things where somebody like, I'll use an analogy that gets my juices really going, which is if you have a real antique car that somebody has, but it comes in a box in pieces and says, here, I want to make sure I give this to you. Here's a great gift. And you've got to put it together, right? And that's expensive. But I think this would be a great benefit to Nassau Bay. I know that Goya Day is doing a lot of things with the community. This is a way to expand things with the community. It's music and art oriented, and it is truly a historic organ that if we can get it up and running, I think would pay benefits all the way around. So this may be a way in which we can do hotel, motel tax loans, but I think you're going to hear more about this, and it's something I'm getting behind. Don't know how it's going to be resolved, but I think it could be a really neat thing for Nassau Bay. That's all I got. Any other questions?
How's the peninsula looking?
All the peninsula, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
It's looking somewhat better.
Okay.
And I noticed some people walking and picking up trash the other day.
Okay.
My wife and I sometimes do too.
Okay.
So-
Because you're like the peninsula godfather for me right now. Yeah. We focus on it and then we forget about the peninsula. So
Hey, Paul, unfortunately, the wind has torn all the tarps off at the tennis court.
yeah, and so I got with Robert. He's at interim parks, and so we're gonna leave them like that until Tuesday.
Paul, as we
Yes, ma'am.
discussed earlier.
I'm sorry?
As we discussed earlier, Bayfront House, Helen Powell, you were talking about the text on signs.
Uh-huh.
Would you be sure to get ordered the Lakeside Lane?
Yes, I think it was Lakeside.
Yeah.
I believe we're missing a point lookout. There's like 4 signs they're missing. I'm actually gonna, I have a good contact, but, I'm gonna follow up with that. Yeah.
And also the street lights on the corner of Lakeside Lane and Nassau Road One?
Mhm.
Yes, the black decorative ones.
No,
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 The,
Center Point.
yeah,
okay,
Center Point,
where's that one at?
corner of Lakeside Lane
Mhm.
and Nassau Road One.
yeah,
Okay,
The tree around it, when and if we get the light bulb, those trees need to be cut back also because
correct.
you really can't see.
You're
any of
absolutely
these
right.
lights. Once
Okay.
you leave the main part of the
one of the
city where
industrial
all
lights.
Okay.
the light is and the signage that's lit up at night, from like Surfport down, it gets really dark and that is a
Absolutely.
horrible intersection.
okay. Yeah, we'll take care of the tree trimming, and then we'll get that light reported.
Yeah,
Yep.
and my.
Hey, Paul, how about the speed, the 25-mile-an-hour speed limits on Space Park and around, are they going in? Are they planning to go in?
Yes, I think there was, I want to say maybe 10 or 15 speed limit signs that we're going to be installing.
What's the ETA?
I need to check with.
You thought it would have been by now.
yeah,
They
yeah.
just still haven't gotten them.
Yeah, I think we had to, I need to check on that. I'll
And
follow up with
also
you.
there was a recommendation, I actually made it, but it was months ago. And it was that, Val Harbor, one of the things I like in Val Harbor, when you go in the entrance,
Yep,
they have the signs that say Nassau Bay is a bird sanctuary.
correct.
And I made the recommendation that we add those signs to other parts of that, like Nassau Bay Drive,
Yeah,
et cetera.
Okay,
There's a lot going on. It probably didn't go anywhere, but can I put that back
Yeah.
in?
yeah.
In the.
Those
in
things
the
are
hopper?
cheap. Those things are cheap. I mean, it's really, really good because I think that's highlights something that's good for our community.
Absolutely. You feel
Yeah.
good when you go in
Yeah.
and you see that, and
Yep.
it's
I
true with
agree.
all the birds we have.
Say, is this before or after the pigeon poisoning?
So there's not gonna be pigeon poisoning, come on. It's like you have 2 routes. You can either go to pigeon heaven or pigeon paradise, right? My understanding is it's going to pigeon paradise,
Yeah, pigeon
not
paradise.
heaven, not here.
Those signs will go up after the pigeon.
But
that?
even though we're a bird sanctuary, those are considered pests.
Yeah, I know.
And so are the Muscovy ducks, the ones that are not the mallard ducks. They're
I tell them,
invasive.
"Hi, don't
They're
let the mayor
invasive
see you.
birds.
Hi,
Yeah.
pigeons."
So I'm here. I'll make one other, because this reminds me is I'm really concerned about that pavilion with like 400 pigeons down there. The excrement coming from pigeon is known to be acidic. They're going to destroy that pavilion if we're not careful. So Paul's looking into getting somebody to make sure we can take them to pigeon paradise and things like that, just to get them out.
Right? You know how to do this in the past.
We have, and same with the Muscovy ducks, is if you're not careful, they're invasive. They're actually the dominant gene. So as they mate with the mallards and stuff like that, you don't get more mallards, you get more Muscovy ducks. So if you want to protect the mallard species, you have to take care of the Muscovy ducks. So Tony's involved with that. But the reason I say that is one of the other things we heard, and again, Paul and I worked with the insurance companies, TML, in order to be able to resurface the basketball court, and we got full coverage on that. So you're going to see that tire track that's going right down going to disappear here shortly, and at the same time, we're going to replace the basketball the goals, the whole backboard, everything like that, so that it has a quick refresh. So.
Please add some of the geese to that list.
I don't know if I can. You said, yeah.
Have made the dock at the lake unusable.
So yeah, I good. One of the things, and Glenn, you're right, is while there's nothing that says that we're restricted from managing populations, we just can't get, except for the pests, to get rid of them, but that may be something else we should look into is, at first, at least giving more of a view or visibility to cleaning that dock more like almost weekly you'd have to, because it, you know, not to be, the excrement on that is large, and they're big birds.
There's a population problem, so
Yeah.
there are mechanisms to control the numbers.
Yeah.
Now, we have been aggressively feeding them now for years.
Correct.
What did we think was gonna happen?
Correct.
I
I mean, that's what's happened. I mean, if you really look at it, is the
no
pigeon,
predators and heavy feeding.
the pigeons, you know, they found a food source and they do what they do, right? You know, and you know, I do know that those geese are very beloved here in this town, so we got to be careful with what we do, but there may be other places to relocate them so that other people can have the benefits that we have. How's that, Glenn?
Put some birth control in the feed.
That's what we did. Anything else? Any other questions?
No, Phil and Paul, thank you. You know, last year was much was accomplished, even with all of the challenges, and you got that done. And now we're in 2024. We're off to a great start. We got Paul Lopez elevated up with his background, stepping up, and I like what I'm hearing. I think the other residents like what they're hearing as well, and you're after it. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Thanks. We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying.
All right, we'll go ahead and end this.
End it. Yep.
All right.